Good morning. Good morning. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Good to have you here with me. Happy Tuesday. JTW here with another FOMO live stream. Hope you guys are ready to dig in. Let's get this going over in the Xtrades side of things as well. Over in our Discord, share screen. Go live. There we go. All right, that's up and running. Let me turn my microphone on there. Okay, and last but not least, let me put out a quick announcement here. In the meantime, while I'm doing this, folks, once you've arrived, please say what's up. Say good morning. Hey, what's up, Unknown Reviews? Good to see you. Was that, I'm 90% sure, was Mongo Database one of your requests? Did you play that from our plan last week? This link. Did you play it to the downside, I guess is the question. It did break, yeah, I think down and was on the put side of the plan as it went into the earnings report. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. It's on the XT YouTube. Sorry, I'm just putting this out and talking while I type over in the Discord. There and in the main stock chat. There we go. All right. Nice. Good stuff, man. Glad to hear that. So yeah, we'll circle back to Mongo and see just how well you did, but I think ultimately it looks like it played out very, very nicely. Let's get into things. Let's start talking about what we're seeing with the markets this morning. I think we also had at least some got jobs data jolts coming out at 10 a.m. this morning, so a little bit after market open. That could be an interesting catalyst to potentially hold back a move right at the open. And we might, see essentially the market wait for that jolts data to come out before we see any big pushes in any particular direction. Other things that we have coming up this week that you'll probably want to be aware of. We've got some PMI data tomorrow between 9:45 and 10, so another day where the first 30 minutes could be a little bit of sort of a wait and see. Imports, exports, jobless claims, of course, as we have every Thursday. Do have non-farm payrolls on Friday. We do have a Fed speaker at noon, Cook speaking at noon on Friday, but I think the big moment, right, is going to come next week when we have inflation data coming out on Wednesday, followed that same afternoon. So that's coming out at 8:30 pre-market. And then that same day, that same afternoon, we get the Fed's interest rate decision as well as a press conference from JPOW and economic projections. So next Wednesday going to be very, very interesting for what the market's going to do for the near-term future at the very least. So keep all that in mind as you think about swings, as you're setting up your plays and deciding what trades you want to get into. So let's talk about things a little bit from a chart perspective now that we've kind of gotten all the data points and catalysts out of the way. Let me go check on our friends over here on YouTube. Can I analyze SPY and QQQ? Well, Life of Twin, we can certainly take a look at QQQ. SPY, I do a daily SPY plan for every morning if you're in the Xtrades Discord. Lash Artist and Mentor, Tiana. What's up, Tiana? Good to see you. Glad you're here and loving it. That's awesome. That's what I like to hear. Going back to, we've kind of talked about the economic data points and stuff like that to be aware of this coming week. If you guys aren't already, in fact, I'll go ahead and share this in the YouTube chat. If you guys aren't already using this particular economic calendar, I highly recommend using it. You can really kind of filter all those data points, economic calendar, all the data points that you want to, as far as like the significance, the potential impact of the market from like a 1 to 3 star rating. You can also see economic data points that are coming out for countries outside of the US. Sometimes that can be a little bit of a factor. So anyway, make sure that you are checking those economic calendars as part of your weekly prep, to be aware of kind of any data points that might be coming up in the week ahead, so you can sort of trade around those or keep those in mind as you trade. But going back to the charts here and what we're seeing here on S&P futures, we're starting to create a little bit of a pretty clear, I would say, looks like a fairly symmetrical triangle pattern. I haven't mapped this out yet, so let's take a look. Could also be starting a little bit more like right there. Yeah, that looks a little bit cleaner, a little bit better. And then up here overhead, definitely have something going on right there. So yeah, in a very symmetrical triangle pattern, we got supply overhead. From a 4-hour perspective, we've got demand here just below that we tested on Friday, and really kind of interesting wild close going into Friday. But yeah, absolutely unknown reviews. I'm glad that's helpful for you. It's by far the one I look at. There's also one for Market Watch that's pretty good. But me personally, I think that's just got a lot more info. The Market Watch is kind of only the bare minimum, what do you need to know kind of data points. But every once in a while, there's some that come out that can kind of cause the markets to shift or wait for that data point to come out that Market Watch doesn't include. So definitely I like that trading economics calendar a little bit more than the Market Watch calendar, but nothing against Market Watch. Generally speaking, great website, lots of good information there. So going back to ES again, symmetrical triangle pattern. So, kind of very much a wait and see setup here. Can certainly play in between these and scalp this range and day trade this range in between those trend lines. Neptune also a little bit conflicted. We've got a bearish trend ribbon bouncing out of a bullish flag here, at least making a higher low, starting out here in the heaviest buying pressure, and now out of kind of buying pressure level 2, buying pressure level 1 now is where we're sort of currently pushing out of. But we do have this bearish trend ribbon overhead. So, very much a conflicted setup, not really looking strong for either side of things here. As far as bears or bulls go, looks really kind of more like me, like consolidation kind of is what's in our near future. So kind of goes in line with what we were just talking about from a data perspective with those data points that are coming out here pretty soon. So anyway, let's get into some ticker. Let's do some trade reviews. We've got member selected tickers that we're going to take a look at. Those trade plans were posted Sunday evening in the options watch list. Also got a couple of tickers that we did on last Thursday's live stream to do a quick review on. And I've also seen a couple of messages come through. I think Unknown Reviews wanted to take a look at Enphase, Life of Twin. We can take a look at QQQ, so we'll do that analysis also this morning. SPY, again, that gets posted in the options watch list every morning if you're in the Xtrades Discord. If you aren't currently, pretty good reason to go ahead and join. That SPY plan has I think an 85+% success rate, and lots of times hitting multiple price targets. I think I had somebody come join Xtrades recently and reached out in one of the chats and said something to the effect of they just followed the SPY plan in their first week and made like $5,000 in their first week with the team, just watching that SPY plan every morning. So make sure you are checking that out. Probably one of the greatest contributions I make to the Xtrades community on a pretty much daily basis. All right, so any day the market's open, let's talk about our trade plans. Member selected tickers from over the weekend. Roku, kind of nothing to see here. Interesting pump out of the gate, but topped out and rejected right here at this weekly resistance. 333 SMA combo here on the hourly. Really needed to get over that to get to the call side of things and really look bullish. That didn't happen. Really clean rejection there. In fact, in hindsight, that was a really, really great setup that I would play 90% of the time. I just wasn't paying a whole lot of attention to Roku outside of that opening pump that we saw early in the morning. But man, hindsight being 2020, that was a setup that I normally play a lot, and I didn't touch it. So did get the rejection there. Seems to be back testing this breakout of this trend line that we've definitely seen, and also this ascending trend still holding. This is a higher time frame trend line. I know it looks like it was already invalidated back here. I think this was a 2 or a 4 hour trend line. So even though on the hourly here it looks like it's broken above that, It never really confirmed on that push over, but definitely pushed over, closed some 4 hour candles above there. Not surprised by that hourly rejection with that confluence that we see up there. So now we're coming back and back testing some buying pressure as well as these trend lines. So not surprised to see a little bit of a bounce there. We'll be interested to see if Roku can find some continuation this morning. Let's take a look at it on a slightly smaller time frame. Yeah, it did break down enough to flip things a little bit bearish. So, but I think that, kind of puts yesterday's high a day. Again, another interesting target, and on the hourly, still kind of a lot of confluence of resistance at that same spot. So on two different time frames, right, we're seeing above 59.02, both on the hourly and the 15-minute. That puts us over this bearish selling pressure here. So over 59.02, we could have a potentially earlier entry. I think I probably, when I did this plan, just went one level higher because it looked like a little bit better confirmation, even though we could see a potential aggressive entry there at 59.02. So keep that in mind if you want to adjust any alerts that you've set or add that 59.02 level to your Roku chart. I say go ahead and do it. Keep that on watch for a potential break to the upside, and then stick to the plan as I posted in the watch list from that point forward, including using this 58.38 as your stop loss. Might be a tight stop loss, but I think with Roku, it's probably appropriate. This one is volatile and can definitely see the bottom drop out suddenly. I've seen that happen more than once. So keep that in mind as we continue to watch Roku for progress on our trade plan. Chewy, another one that's kind of in that wait and see mode. Also, I went probably one level further, very similar to what we're seeing here on Roku, right? Hourly level here on Roku versus this weekly level that was just below. Chewy, kind of the same thing. I think I probably saw some support resistance flips that are pretty key. Just a little bit higher here at 22.53, but we did hit this 22.32 weekly level and held below that. Weekly levels, as far as when I do my support and resistance and my technical analysis on a chart, weekly levels are some of the strongest levels that I map out, so not surprised to see a lot of struggle there, but really kind of looking more like bullish consolidation on this one versus what we're seeing on Roku. Really kind of big picture looks like a bullish flag here. So yeah, we could see Chewy make a really nice another leg up and move higher post earnings report, which was pretty solid numbers, at least according to what TradingView has to say about it. Could really see Chewy make a big move over this 22.32, 22.53, little bit of resistance area left. I may have, I may be too conservative with this 25.34 price target, but it was always smart to take profit early and often. Nobody's ever blown an account selling in the green, right? So Chewy kind of remains on watch. Kava, we are seeing this one start to break down after playing out several plans that we did on it, and also playing some of our fib extensions, these untested levels, with really, really great accuracy. So happy to see how that's played out. We actually did these levels, I think, on last Tuesday's live stream, all these pink fib extensions back when Kava, I think, was somewhere down in this range. We caught, essentially untested support and resistance levels with a high level of accuracy. That's always a good thing to see. But what are we seeing here from a trade plans perspective? We did see Kava break down, and not only did it break down here on the 15-minute, it also broke down and back tested that put entry level. So this is looking pretty good for some bearish momentum, at least in the near term. Not saying I'm overall bearish on Kava, but just the way the plan is setting up and the way the chart looks at the moment, especially with us now losing this 333 SMA as support here pre-market. Would definitely expect to see this one continue down to PT1 at the very least, and probably really on down to price target 2. I think that's where I would scale out heavy, and just leave a couple of runners for a potential shot at 76.99. Make sure you move your stops up with the plan so you don't ever wind up letting a green trade go red. Trade plans that we did last Thursday, Carvana was one of those that was requested that we did live on this stream last Thursday. Seems to be consolidating between sort of our buy and sell levels. Overall, the bearish momentum continues. We do see it continue to reject the heavier selling pressure here on Neptune, and then kind of the level 2 selling pressure here on Neptune. as of going into the trading day yesterday. Is below and rejecting this weekly level as resistance, and kind of overall has some bearish confluence there overhead here on the hourly. Let's take a quick look at it on the 15-minute too. You know, I would make a case here if you guys want sort of a different approach to executing this trade plan or getting into this trade a little bit earlier. I think there's a case to be made for going ahead and shorting Carvana as long as it's below 99.30. If you decide to do that, I would check this 15-minute 200 SMA. You see we've gotten a couple of rejections very close to that. I'd keep an eye on that as a means for determining whether or not it's time to stop out of that potential more aggressive entry. So I would use that as my stop loss, essentially kind of a dynamic or moving stop loss there with that 200 SMA on the 15. If it breaks back above that, probably don't want to be in shorts because it could continue to push higher. But yeah, really looking for a break below 93, 96 to continue to push down still. So overall, Carvana, you know, looking like it wants to continue down, but no confirmed entries yet as far as our plan goes. And then last but not least, Mongo database. This one was for unknown reviews who did play it and played it to the downside. Congrats on that one, brother. MDB really likes to focus on these earnings plays. I will, and no offense to unknown reviews. I'm sorry, did I say MDB likes to trade these earning plays? I meant unknown reviews. Unknown reviews really likes to go after these kind of earnings run up type plays. I'm sure they're doing something pretty smart about making sure to scale out and use that sort of anticipation of the earnings report, but probably also swinging some through the earnings reports, which is, you know, some people's strategy, and that's okay. The one thing I would say is just be very, very careful swinging options contracts through earnings reports, especially if you're new to this. There is a thing called IV crush, which essentially means you could be right about the direction, but if the actual move is smaller than the implied move, well, your contracts, even though you were correct about the direction, could still go, you know, be negative the following morning after earnings report, depending on how much time you buy on them and all that stuff. So anyway, just kind of a word of caution for those newer traders looking at this saying, oh man, why am I not trading every earnings report? You know, if you've got a specific strategy built around it, you use spreads, things like that. You know, there are ways to do it. Just, you know, be careful about getting too heavy into options contracts or earnings reports. Long story short. So what do we see here on MDB? Saw it break below, back test here, not only on the hourly, but also see it here on the 15-minute, break below, back test of our put entry. So that was kind of the signal to focus on the downside. And then, of course, with the earnings report coming in, that downside plan and then some played out significantly. So congrats, Unknown Reviews. Thanks for the request, and glad that you cleaned up on this one. I can't remember what the other one was that we essentially the plan also called, and had a really good ER move in that same direction. But was it Abercrombie and Fitch or one of those? I can't remember who it was. But anyway, let's get to some new trade plans. Let's do these live and direct. Yeah, it was Abercrombie and Fitch. I'm surprised I can remember that. So I'm glad you cleaned up on Mongo, though, my friend. I'm glad that it worked out for you. Let's take a look at your new request. You had Duluth, but then you said switch for end phase. Sure, if you prefer end phase, we can do that. Let's take a look at end phase energy here. I do have some existing levels on it, and they do seem to still be fairly accurate and tight. So I'm liking what I see there so far. It might just be a small need to fill in the blanks. No earning. Oh, wow. Good for you. Branching out a little bit. But I totally get the strategy behind using those earnings reports coming up as volume catalysts to try to catch, you know, moves that play out a little bit more quickly versus potentially getting stuck in stuff that could just consolidate and stagnate a little bit. So not giving you a hard time about the earnings thing. I just, once I noticed that pattern, I had to point it out, I guess. All right, so let's take a look at end phase here. No earnings report coming up. Let's see, 50 days away. So this is new territory for my friend Unknown Reviews here. All right, How do we want to handle this? Again, I'm pretty happy with what I'm seeing on the support resistance that's in place. Looks like our last trade plan on this we did probably on a Tuesday morning live stream back in January. Don't need that anymore. Also, just to kind of clean things up a little bit here. Those are all those lines. Let's get these guys. Okay. Why am I not grabbing? I don't need this or this. It's weird. Huh. Why are these showing like they're locked or linked or something? Sorry. Neutral. That's bizarre. Let's take a look at what that is. I'm not sure what TradingView's doing there, but I'll do this the old-fashioned way. Yeah, I swear I've selected those levels, and for whatever reason it's ignoring me, but that's okay. Let's just fix this up real quick, and then, gosh darn it, sorry guys. I don't know why my mouse is not wanting to go, buddy. Really starting to frustrate me now. Keeps deselecting the lines I've already selected. There we go. All right, now we're talking. Okay, so let's take a look at this. I don't need that noise right now. All right. So, end phase makes some interesting moves in this range. This is a level that I keep coming back to, which to me says it's probably our call entry. Let's just take a look at where that, yeah, that's about where I was looking here. On the recent price action, be interested to see. This is kind of an interesting, this one little rejection here is the only thing I'm a little bit worried about with setting these price targets and using this as a stop loss, or sorry, an entry level. And I was just trying to see if there was maybe something else in there, like a moving average or trend line or something that jumped out at me that would show why that rejected a little prematurely. Could have been the start of a new downtrend, actually. Just kind of an interesting spot for that to start. But what I'm looking at after scanning through the chart, let's go back here. PT1 here, 136.93, and PT2 right after it at this weekly level, 139.48. Over that, I think we get a bigger move. But I just want to check through this real quick. Interesting double top near this level. Do see a little bit of buyers and sellers changing sides near this level. I'm just going to go ahead and mark this real quick. I think it's going to wind up being our third price target, but I want to take a look at this on a higher time frame. And see where we kind of, how we've historically used that level in the past. Yeah, we've got a level there for sure. So that'll be our third price target, stop loss, average down. This could be a very interesting level here. Yeah. So needed to add a couple levels here, but that's okay. No big deal. We're picking smart support and resistances. So I like that setup, and I think from the hourly perspective, yeah. Also interested by this break below. We got a confluence here, key buying level on Neptune with this 123.66 2-hour level. Whoops, sorry, change that to the wrong thing. 200 SMA is still sitting below right there on the hourly. I'd keep that in mind. In fact, that might even make me want to change this. Or yeah, it does actually. I am going to change this around a little bit. Just waiting for a little extra confirmation. I think I'd rather miss, a small percentage of the overall move and be in with better confirmation than getting in too early and winding up in a rough trade that I have to try to work my way out of or take a loss on. Small adjustment to that 4-hour level. Trying to see if we need to give this downside plan any additional room. I think the answer is no. Yeah, I think we're going to stick with what was looking good as an entry level as our stop loss average down for a downside trade plan. So that gives our entry there at 121.50. We also have another confluence coming up just below, also where I would have that price target anyway, so no coincidence that confluence. They're at 117.87, so that's a good first price target. Interesting little hold here, just a little bit further below. Again, not traded in phase thoroughly a lot in the past. Do think we have an hourly level here that we wouldn't want to ignore as far as continuing to scale some out for profit there at 116.15. Below that, I think we take a shot at this weekly level down here at 113.80. Could even go down to this next level below, but I wouldn't want to just totally, I said earlier, right, weekly levels are kind of some of the stronger levels I put on my charts. I'd rather be a little bit more conservative, but I think there's a potential at 111.60. It's long story short. That's what I'm trying to spit out there. All right, so here are your end phase trade plans, unknown reviews. I appreciate the request as always, my friend. In this one, no earnings report, folks. You got 50 days, so if you are earnings report adverse like I am, this one's got the green light. You don't have to worry about that. So let's get this into the chat. Live stream plan. Share that with you guys there so you can make a copy of it, pull it up in your browser, copy the levels over onto your own TradingView charts, set your alerts, do all that stuff. That makes these trade plans so much more actionable. And also for our friends in the Discord side of the Xtrades community, over in the options watch list, there is the phase live stream plan that we just did, that you just watched. Feel free to grab that chart, copy the levels, set your alerts, be ready to go. So what are we looking for here on end phase? Now that you have the charts, I'm going to talk through it real quick. We're looking for a break of 131.79 resistance to play for upside. That should give us targets at 136.93, 139.48, and 144.35 as indicated by these dashed lines. Solid line indicating our entry level. Stop loss average down there at 128.28, this heavy dotted line indicating our stop loss average down. This is our risk zone, reward zone. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 121.50. That should give us targets at 117.87, 116.15, and 113.80 with the stop loss average down at 123.98. Same scenario, right? Entry, target, target, target. Stop loss, risk, reward. That's end phase for you. Let's go. Thank you very much. What's up, Fred? That's why I shortened so long. Oh, yeah, there you go. Could you look at sober? I think I might have got in at a bad time. Sure, I can take a look, Fred, and if I don't get to it before we wrap up here, you and I have chatted via DMs plenty of times, so if I don't get to that during the live stream, feel free to shoot me a DM. I'm happy to take a look at it for you. All right, so Life of Twin wanted to take a look at SPY and QQQ. SPY, again, we do the daily SPY plan every day. Goes in the options watch list over in Xtrades. So let's take a look at QQQ. It's one that I don't look at as much as I should. I kind of use SPY as my market barometer, but I have been asked multiple times, and I've told myself probably just as many, if not more times, one of these days I'm going to start doing like a daily QQQ plan in addition to the SPY plan. The challenge with that is sometimes there's just not enough pre-market time to do both plans, I think, sufficiently or with the right level of accuracy that I'd want. So yeah, sometimes I steer clear of that. But anyway, one of these days I'm gonna put all my QQQ levels together and really get ready to nail this down. I think I've started looking at it way back in the day, but yeah, we we've moved a long way from any levels I did back then. So let's go ahead and get rid of those. All right, so this is going to be kind of a start from scratch and kind of really good exercise and talking about sort of how I like to set my charts up. So for those of you who have stuck around for this part of it, you're getting sort of a nice little look at the process of your boy JTW as we try to find how we want to handle this QQQ trade plan. Interesting level here. We're definitely going to wind up using some fib extensions. And possibly even some fib retracements, but I'll be surprised if we need those. I really prefer support resistance over fib retracements as long as I have the price data to use. This is an interesting level, but I don't think it's a weekly level, and I don't think we're going to need anything below 413.10. So let's move on to our daily levels. This is where I really start to expect to see a lot of support and resistance make itself known. Another interesting level, but not a daily level. However, this weekly level that we kind of marked out, or that level I should say that we marked out on the weekly chart, wasn't a weekly level, wound up being a daily level. Not surprised by that. Here that we're gonna need to keep an eye on. Definitely an interesting level here. It's a little messy, but we'll keep that on watch. Did this bounce come off an actual level, or did it just kind of pick a spot to bounce from? I don't believe in randomness or coincidence in general, but I also believe in confirmation strongly. Don't think that that's a daily level, but I think there is a level there. It's probably, if I had to guess, a 4-hour level. So when you hear me talk about a daily, a weekly, a blah 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 level, I'm talking about levels that I drew based on that particular time frame. So just kind of keep that in mind as we do these let me get my words out. As we do these live streams and as I work these trade plans up for you guys, you know, it helps to kind of, I guess, speak my language a little bit. So that when I talk about a time frame, hourly, a blah blah blah, whatever level, that's because it's a time frame that I drew that particular level on. All right, so got a couple of interesting levels that we're going to keep on watch here as we continue to cycle through these time frames. This I was fairly certain was a 4-hour level. I'm fairly certain I've now confirmed that. This down here probably also I would expect to be a 4-hour level. Could be just a tad lower, maybe, like just a little teeny tiny bit. Yeah, I think that's just a little bit catchier, cleaner. Okay. And then last but not least, let's figure this guy out. Double top followed by a bounce. We don't have a ton of price data up in this range, given that big rejection. I think that was previously at all-time high. Now bounced off that as support. I think that's important enough with just those few touches to call that a support and resistance level there. Another interesting one there, kind of minimal touches, but enough to say it's good. Confirmed. Yeah, so again, minimal price data in this range. Probably going to need to look at some smaller time frames. I think we do have something sitting right about there, though. I might also have something around here. Let's take a look. Yeah, not that Not that we're going to be able to verify, at least not on the 4 hour, so it is what it is. Anything else that we're going to want to take a look at up in this range? Not that I see there. All right, let's get into some tighter time frames, because I think that's really what we're going to need to see with just the amount of time that QQQ has spent up in this range. Also very intriguing downtrend seems to be forming here. Sorry, ascending trend line, downtrend. What the hell was I thinking? Could be sitting right like that even. It's a little bit cleaner there. And also, we saw this on ES this morning. Could see this is not confirmed yet. Kind of confirms it a little bit. And this is less of a, it's kind of a symmetrical triangle, but more of a rising, well, not really even a rising wedge. I guess it is more of a symmetrical triangle than really anything. It's just the top's a little flat. But yeah, very similar to what we saw in ES this morning, as far as, you know, kind of a trend line overhead and a trend line below, both still pretty key factors. So let's fill in the blanks here on our support resistance levels. That happened to jump out at me. Wanted to go ahead and mark that. Interesting pre-market rejection here. So that'll be our extended hours all-time high. Definitely have a level here that we're going to want to keep in the mix. And I think we have something maybe sitting right about here. I don't know if we've had it. That's that high. Yeah, we. So let's take a look at, I could have been wrong about needing to use some fib retracements. Golly, these are weird ranges. This is just a wild move there, but let's take a look at both of these. So we got one that sits like that potentially, and the other, oops, not a trend line. The other set really probably sits like here. So do see some levels of interest here. All right, we'll keep these in mind. Let's flip our indicators on. Neptune still kind of keeping things in the bearish side of things, bear mode. Interesting rejections there. I do see a potential long entry opportunity. I'm actually going to hide this extra set of fib extensions for now. See this more recent set only, because it's very close to lining up with some of our existing support and resistance levels, showing some confluence, which is generally what I like to see when I'm doing these. Dead on confluence there at that 100% fib retracement level. So I think we could play a break over 453, excuse me, 41. That should give us a shot at this 455.49 level. Over 455.49. There is a level. Yeah, sitting right about here. That I think we'd also want to be aware of. Ready to scale out profit at. They're at 456.49. Again, this is QQQ, it's an ETF, so it's not, even though, you know, QQQ of all the ETFs does tend to make the most volatile, big, fast moves. Still think we have to be pretty methodical about taking profit early and often, especially kind of up here in this sort of new all-time high range, things can be a little trickier. And with data coming up, key data coming up on Wednesday, we're not going to want to be swinging too much going into Wednesday pre-market. So keep that in mind. Make sure that you are trying to scale out as much as possible. God, I say Wednesday like that's a long way. I'm sorry, that's next week. Sorry. Next Wednesday. So we do have some time. Sorry. Forgot what week it was. All right. Stop loss average down. Yeah, definitely this level right here was also a gap level at one point. Would not want to be holding on, smoking hopium for a recovery below 452.37. That could bring a lot more downside and make any strikes and expirations you pick on that break over 453.41 a challenge to recover. So kind of a tight stop loss on this, but I feel like it's appropriately tight. In fact, looking at this a little bit more zoomed in, I did have that level a little high. More like 452.21. Yeah, right about there. All right, so downside, we do have the 333 SMA sitting right here. Yeah, I do like that as an entry for puts as well. So breaks through that confluence, also a key support. This bounce right there is, well, could be catching the beginnings of that trend line. How far off does that put us? 447.96. Could also be that I've just drawn that weekly level a little low when you're that far zoomed out. It's possible. Could be sitting more. Yeah, I don't know. I think that weekly level is where it needs to be. Let me just double check this. I could make a case for it being a little higher or lower, so I'm going to leave it where it is. Do you have this fib retracement level right near that bottom at 4? Yeah, I mean, I hate to have levels that are that tight together, but I think it's just for accuracy's sake, there's something in here that we bounced off of very near fib retracement level also. I think that's a prudent spot to take some profit at. Below that, yeah, I like this 446.24 level. Below 446.24, yeah, I was eyeballing this anyway. Yeah, right around 444.25. So now we need to figure our stop loss average down, which I think is sitting right. I don't have a ton of price action here. We do have this fib retracement level. It's a little bit higher. I think we could be slightly more aggressive though, to be perfectly honest. More like 450.56. So again, slightly more accurate, but again, fib retracements in general, I have personally found, and maybe this is not maybe, this is certainly a bit anecdotal, I have found when it comes to comparing fib retracements to sort of my hand-drawn support resistance levels tend to hit with greater accuracy in my experience. So this is what we're looking at for QQQ. Also, I think decent overall analysis, right? Definitely needs to fight through some more bearish pressure, certainly in a range of potential consolidation here, also inside a bit of a triangle pattern, but looking for a break above 453.41 should bring more buyers in, I would expect. But let's get this posted into the live stream. Plan for for you all. Let me also put this over in the Xtrades Discord. All right, so let's talk about this real quick. Hopefully you guys enjoyed getting to see all of that. So what are we looking at here? For here on QQQ, we're looking for a break over 453.41. Let me go ahead and hide these fib retracements. Actually, it's a little bit noisy. I'm going to share the new link for that too. There's not a. I'm going to fix it over here in trading or in Discord though. Just replace it there. Oh wait, it's not so noisy. So what are we looking for here? We're looking for a break over 453.41. That should give us targets to play the upside. That should give us targets at 455.49. So kind of a big move up to that first price target, shortly followed by 456.49, and then on up to 458.03. Ultimate price target for this current trade plan with a stop loss average down at 452.21. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 449.46. That should give us targets at 447.93, 446.24, and 444.25 with a stop loss average down at 450.56. Those are your upside and downside QQQ trade plans, and that puts us about 15 minutes out from the market open, 14 minutes really. So with that said, I am going to go get to work on the SPY plan. We're going to wrap up this session. Fred Dog, shoot me a DM. I'll take a look at Sober for you. Sorry we weren't able to get to it during the stream, but happy to help you out. Go ahead and shoot me a message so I don't forget to close the loop with you on that. I appreciate you reaching out and requesting. Let me take a quick look. Sorry, folks, in the Discord, I've not been looking at the live stream chat over there. I really focus on the YouTube chat. So if you guys do want to join the conversation, please make sure that you are coming over to the YouTube side of things and checking us out there. We are trying to build up that audience in our YouTube subscribers. So anyway, just a quick note about the upcoming live stream schedule. I will be doing a live stream this coming Thursday. I will not be doing live streams next week. I had a really cool opportunity fall into my lap to go to the US Open next week down at Pinehurst and to actually play Pinehurst next week. So a little bit of an impromptu golf trip for me next week, but really excited to potentially get to see Tiger Woods out there getting ready for a major tournament. So because who knows, how long he'll be playing in the PGA Tour before he moves on to the Senior Tour with some of his, physical issues that he's had. But always awesome to see him out there swinging a golf club. It's truly a thing to witness in person for sure. So anyway, that being said, going to be very challenging, and I do not think I'm going to be able to do any live streams next Tuesday or Thursday just because of the travel schedule, but I will be doing one Thursday. I'll put that reminder out again, and we will be back doing live streams again the week after next, starting on Tuesday the 18th at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So anyway, with that, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. For those of you in the Xtrades Discord, I will see you guys in the chats. As we always say here on the FOMO live stream, plan your trades and trade your plans. Go out there and get some green, and I will see you guys back here Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great day.